This is day 141 of the Arukh HaShulchan OC. Today is Ches Tishrei, as I'm recording this year, and that is the yohrzeit of my mother, Schulamis HoRav Dov Yehuda, Arukh HaShulchan. May this year be for the illui of her neshomo. If you would like to sponsor an upcoming shiur or more of the Arukh HaShulchan OC, please contact me directly. It would be so much appreciated. We are doing today Simukuf Aleph Sif Daled until Simukuf Beis Sif Alpha Ad Bichlal Daled. Lomdu Mikra Kroi de Tfilas Chana. We learned from the Psukim by Tfilas Chana. The Chana Yimidaber Saliba. Chana was speaking on her heart. Rax Vasenos, only her lips were moving. Because Lo Yishman, her voice was not heard. Rax Vasenos, only her lips were moving. From here we see that a person who davens has to not sure the right word is not enunciate. Not sure how you say in English to be definitive with one's lips while davening. But that's what it is. And in this context, it means to say the words properly, which of course requires the proper shape of the mouth. Her voice is not heard. You would see a person should not raise up his voice in davening. The time of the Brisa, somebody who raises up his voice in davening and raising Miktari Amona indicates that he lacks emuna. As if Kosh Baruch does not hear him when he is davening silently. Somebody who lifts up his voice in davening, sheker. Boy, strong term. He is associated with the Nevi'ei Sheker, Dichsibu, as it says by them in the case of El Yod Har Carmel and the Nevi'ei Abal, Kar'u B'Kol Gadol. They said maybe the Baal was sleeping and they had to cry out loudly to him. And so therefore somebody who feels that they have to rouse HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Chas V'Sholom, Afro Lepume, is from the Nevi'ei Abal. From that which is she was speaking on her heart. We learned that somebody who davens has to direct his heart. You see, like it says, you prepare their heart, and then your ears will hear. In other words, is like we ask Kodesh Baruch Hu, Hashem Sosai Tiftach, help us out in having that kavanah. And the spabir alev kulad lo yotzam. Somebody davens just with thought is not yotzei. The guy won't hear love kadima dami because, as we've already seen several times, the thinking is not the same like expressing. That which allows him that a sick person who cannot daven aloud can contemplate the words of tefillah. It's because he can't speak. But I forgot the tefillah might mean you might ask. We're going to have to concentrate from the Avdo of Avchem. So because Baruch all our hearts. So these being internal. That's in terms of that we need to have kavanah of the heart. That's kavanah. Focused on top of the words. But just thinking the words of tefillah, you're not yotzei. Hey. In terms of what it means not to have your ears hear what you're saying, yesh machlokas. The machlokas that poskim yesh, when some say that feel oznav le'shmiya. In other words, you should daven so silently that even your own ears don't hear, which is an interesting perspective. I'm not sure I realized that there was such a perspective before. But that's he says, it says that Yochol Yashmiya Kol. No, it doesn't mean that your ear should hear your voice. Pirush Bechana Kolo Yishama. Says Bechana she spoke on her heart and her voice was not heard. And obviously the Tosefta seems to indicate that she couldn't even hear her own voice, which she wasn't much near to her own ozen. Our Ramakos of Perek came Mechatech Advar Misfasav. The Rambam writes that you're supposed to enunciate, for lack of a better term, the words with your lips, mashmila oznav, and your own ears should hear what you're saying. Balachash, silently, don't make your voice heard. Chenkos Abatur, Chenkos Aracho, Chen Shalmi. Shomer Shama Mispal V'lo Yishmiel Ozno Yotza Hakal Shoro. The Schulamis says that if you were dominant and did not hear with your ear, you're yohrzeit, right? Harei rak b'diavad yotza. You're yohrzeit, but it's not preferable. Chen Basku Rabbi Seina Bal Shulchan Aruch B'si Beis Tzarich Lashmiel Oznov. Your ear should hear. V'cheni Kar Ladina. It's primary halacha. Now in the brackets he says, "V'atosefta yesh lefaresh k'moshe kosav abach dachi berusha." One can interpret the Tosefta differently. Below Ashma lo yotza. Is it possible that without hearing it you're not yohrzeit? Ayin sham. See the Tosefta's language. Also, it's possible that Tosefta means to say that you should not let your ears hear by a raised voice. Ubeberek habayis hevi mei Zohar. The Beis Yosef in the Berek habayis brings down from the Zohar the Mashikot Tosefta seems to say Tosefta. For Bevayakel Shomer it says there I hayit sloisa ishtama leudnei the barnash that the prayers of a person are heard to his ears. Leis man the tzai salehela and nobody hears it on high. Hakam l'shorah. Kvarkosim again Abraham Sikon Gimel that Kavana shacher lo yishma. Abraham Reagan explains that the Zohar means that somebody else should not hear what you're davening. Ayin sham. Filim ima atzmo kai, and even if it's going itself, Hakavana shlo yishma kol. You shouldn't hear a regular voice. Hakabal lachash just silently kamosh kasav. Vav v'chol zehu k'sheyachol chavim perish tefillah gam k'shem b'lachash. Since kavana is so prime, it is only if you can have kavana when you daven silently. We can't have kavana daven silently. Such as when there are people who, when they speak silently, when other people speak in their vicinity silently, and the words don't enter the heart. He can lift up his voice a little bit, since he's kind of honest. There's no other way of having proper kavana. There's only between he to himself when he's diving in biyachidus. But the daven loudly, but tzibur is forbidden. As I mentioned, tzibur will come to distract the tzibur. Klomar shlei balbel b'kol acher. In other words, we're concerned he should not confuse others with his voice. So therefore, if you raise the voice a little bit, like people do, obviously during the other parts of davening, except for Shmon Esrei, as long as there's no bilbo for the tzibur, no confusion with the tzibur, mutter gam tzibur is permitted also in public. And sometimes there's some people that even though they can have kavanah when they daven silently, mutter log bia kolo, he's allowed to raise his voice. Such a way he's davening home, upnei beso yamdim ba'atzum seder tefillah, and the members of his household do not know how to daven. Mutlak biyakol, he is allowed to lift up his voice a little bit. The members of his household will learn from him how they should daven. They came into the bar mitzvah kavitz. This is davening allowed for the purpose of a mitzvah. Leis lamba, it's not an issue. It's permissible. But he's a Yerushalmi. This is also what it says in Yerushalmi. V'batur ein sham. In the brackets he says, "V'tasib kanav what's my base of shel chavim belachash." Taz says in your house, even though you can't have one lachash when you're silent. Kokam nebas im bekol mecham and yoser, and when you daven loudly have more kavanah. Av shalom mishum nei beso, mutar av shalom mishum nei beso. You have to do it even if it's not on account of members of your household, and during the extended periods of coronavirus when davening b'chias, I very often did daven Shmon Esrei out loud. The Mishnah, not shouting, but, not in a whisper. Mishnah Bura writes in the Bir Halacha not to be maker like the Taz. So in this case, I guess it was lying in the Arukh HaShulchan, who was by mentioning the Taz indicates, even though it's only in the brackets, that one can be maker like him. Okay, sign. Kosher was saying about Shulchan Aruch Sifir Gimel. They write Yesh Omrim. Some say Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur Mutar Lashmiach B'Tfilas Philosophy B'Tzibur. That on Rosh Hashanah Kippur you're allowed to raise your voice even down B'Tzibur V'Chein Nagin. That is the custom. Nevertheless, Yizar Shlo Lagbir Kol Yosmidai. You should not raise your voice too much. Ad kan l'shoina. End quote. The Mordechai biyuma beer. Tam shosim kain. The reason why we do this is because Yilamdu zeh and zeh. I guess it means that since the words of davening are not so familiar, by davening a little bit b'kol, everybody listens to the other person and learns the nusach hatfilah be more articulate. And says Mordechai, we're not going to cause mistakes. Sharei mitzuyim, the other machzorim misidurim. People have machzorim misidurim, which will prevent mistakes. Ayin sham. V'atol lo sheach she'amdu zeh zeh. And so says the Arukh HaShulchan. Now, in our day and age, not relevant that they should teach each other. Everybody knows how to daven. Kena yo lo yo lonu. It would be for us, therefore, not appropriate. It's Bible called Ram to daven with an uplifted voice. Acheshotam is another reason. You make tshuva because of the days of repentance. Mashmiim call them, therefore they let their voices be heard. Chacham and Yosef to have greater kavanah. Belachash and furthermore, came bekim bahem, and furthermore, since they're not accustomed to these words, interesting svara. In other words, you can have proper kavanah belachash when you're used to the nusach hatfilah, but sometimes when you're not used to the nusach hatfilah, it enhances your kavanah to say it out loud. It says here, I'm based, so I guess that's the source. There are many great people who do not happy with this approach, and also the Zohar in the case not supposed to do it. I assume the Zohar recorded before. If it's better to daven silently if you can raise up your kavanah. Many gedolim conduct themselves like. Even if Zimra wouldn't raise his voice. On Shabbos he would call him at. On Shabbos he would raise his voice a bit. The Mishnah Berurah basically says the same thing about this. Ches. Mash oimrim. Slichos piyutim called ram enk beta. That which you say slichos and other piyutim out loud is not a problem. For dafka b'tfilah shemon esrei yesh piyut because specifically about shemon esrei, that reason notwithstanding, the ikar problem and the halachic problem is shemon esrei. She because they stand in front of the king, and obviously one has to be respectful and talk in low tones. Avol sharei tfilos tachlin less about the rest of davening is not an issue. But on the contrary, in order to arouse the heart, so it's better to dive in b'kol. Because the Rambam and Yimukei Chumash, so Parshas Bova Zelashona, like the Ramban writes, the Kavanas Romamus Atfilah Kos B'Tfilos, the intent of raising up one's voices in davenings. Chulei K'mosh Omer Azal V'Yiku Elokim B'Chaz Kah. So from Yoina, the people need to call that. People need to call out to God with strength. Here you see that tefillah requires voice. Ayin sham. Koshkin shus tishbachos is certainly the songs and praises. Shomim kol rab. You say in loud voices. Midnei simcha. Interesting, because simcha you can daven loudly. Shapir daven, therefore it's okay. Tilim yesh nargan came b'kol. So also you could say it loud. Kosham shel megillah. Kol korei b'lo ne'ima v'shem b'lo zimra. Anybody who learns without a nigun and who reads without a nigun and learns without a song, will have a cause of Omer v'chulei, the pasuk denigrates him. Okay. Test. Bereish Perek Zayin the Soita. Tonight we look at the Mishnah. The tefillah and meres b'chol loshin yadam in any language. Klamar mishu balabakish rachamim ba'koshos, meaning any person wants to ask for mercy and make requests. In front of his baruch in front of because baruch yochel lebakish basically loshin shirtza. He can make the request in any language he wants. Chen is that time b'gemara sham tefillah rachamehu. And the Gemara gives a reason because tefillah is supplication. Whatever way you want to supplicate, that's the way to supplicate. Shlomo Melech, after he finished the Beis HaMikdash, Amar Flosi, he said in his davening, also non-Jews, not from the Jewish people, who come from a distant land, V'gomer b'Yisrael el habayis hazeh, and go daven through the Beis HaMikdash. Atah tishma, you will listen to his tefillah. V'gomer. V'adei Yisrael b'Lashon HaKodesh. My assumption is that these non-Jews coming from a distance were not davening in Hebrew. Because of the Reish Perek Beis, the brachas dezel b'tzibur. It says in tzibur you can daven any way you want. Abo b'yachid, but when davening is an individual, in yichidus l'Yisrael b'Lashon HaKodesh ayin sham, you should daven in Hebrew specifically. First beside the Sham is explicit cited there. The Baruch Sham has to have a tefillah b'chol lashon. You daven in any language you want. V'amar Rav Yehuda lo l'mal yishal adam tzorach b'lashon Aramis. British never asked for his needs in Aramaic. The Ein Malachim is niskaklo because Malachim will not assist him to bang his tefillah to Shemayim. The Tarates and the Gemara answers can be tzibur. By a yachid you should daven in Hebrew. By a tzibur you can daven in Aramaic. Some say that some say even an individual can ask in any language. Because the Malachim do know foreign languages, just not Aramaic. If you look there, Bagmara, you see explicitly the Lokaya Tefillah Kvua Shagov Anshagas Agdol. It's not going on Shmon Esrei, or the Birchos Kriyashma, or something which is made by the Anshe Knesset Agdol. The Miyah Yisrael Sharas Dvorim Ha'in the Merumah Shalom Lashon Laz. How can a person have the arrogance to change words which have tremendous impact at the loftiest levels of this world to a foreign language? If somebody does this, Einu Ela Maaseh Reshak Kesel. Wow. So it's the deeds of wickedness and stupidity. Because you can't translate properly. About supplications, tefillos, and prayers, and another form of supplication. Not sure the difference between tchinos and tachnunim is. Shomrei Matzil, which you say occasionally in the tzibur. That which Rabbi said that some say that's only not allowed to have in foreign language when you ask for your needs, such as you're dying for a sick person, or some travail you have at home. But even in the but the tefillah which is fixed for the community. I feel even an individual can say in any language he wants. So it's not talking about Shemon Esrei. Haslichas, it's talking about philos of the tzibur, such as slichas chayetzben in similar cases. She's pashlu omran b'tzibur, where it's become widespread to say them b'tzibur. Feels like the chol shabbosim toivim rosh hashanah kippurim, but the permanent philos cholila b'chalil shanoisam. I feel shini kosher. Wow, can't change them at all. This is the primary halacha. This is from the generations before us. This passed their way. It says in brackets Kavur b'Sefer Ela Divrei Bris, which is one of the early svarim against the reformers. And evidently that was a big issue. The reformers, of course, were changing the davening into foreign languages. So this is part of the fight against it. So Kupehei is b'nevar o b'zeh b'siyat Hashem. It's going to explain further. Mr. Burr writes that it's a mitzvah min ha-muvchar. The best way to daven is in Lashon Kodesh. Chazim Sofer writes that which they permit davening in any language, it's only on occasion. But to permanently daven in a foreign language and to put up a shliach tzibur in a foreign language and to forget, so to speak, Lashon Kodesh altogether, that is absolutely not permitted. And besides that, the other Goyim I brought other reasons to forbid this practice as a general one. But Allah reads that if a person reads Shemayim and wants to have the Kavanah, it's better to daven in a language that he understands. But in any other situation, you should daven specifically in Lashon HaKodesh. Not to sit nor pass in front of a person who is davening. Aleph, Kasav Rabbeinu Abeis Yosef. He says he writes Asur Leisha B'Tol Down Amashis Bal. Can't sit down within 4 amos somebody's davening. Bein milfon, but in front of him, bein mitzvanim, or from the sides. Tzarachik arb amos. This is 4 amos away. Akashana. Mavur. So it seems clear that it's only milfonim and that's studying. But the achra mutar behind him is okay. Chenkos abelavu shayin sham. Our Rabbeinu Ramakos bein milfon bein milachra. Because Rama also negates the behind, sitting behind. It's in 4 amos. Ayin sham. The Kama Toos Hatzfus of opinions. Wow. Shul says that there's several typos in this halachas. These halachas. In our tour it says both in front and in the back. And the Darkei Moshe asked on him, Lama lo kasav lachor. Why didn't he write backwards? Kama Rosh Perek Ches. Shagos Lachor wrote the Achra. But in fact, we do have Lachra in our Ramah. Mizechri has Achra Nami Asur, and on that basis, the Ramah ruled that even behind one, it's forbidden. And all the Mepharshei Shulchan Aruch, however, say that the Torah Shulchan Aruch did not forbid behind them. And their whole reliance is on the rush, and we will come back to that to see base. Hashem next time we learn.